Greetings, family. This is Yapamwayende Ngina, otherwise known as the Road Black Girl. I'm just going to do a very quick, I know I say that all the time, but I'm going to do a really quick live because something's been sitting with me for about the last 24 hours that I wanted to at least comment on and put out there before it left me, which it probably won't. But I'm waiting for a client right now, so I just wanted to go ahead and put this out while I was thinking about it. I'll probably do a follow-up when I get home from work. But so this weekend was epic. It was just, a continuation of a lot of amazing things that have happened over the last 3 weeks. But it was also really revealing in a number of ways, and primarily this way. So Saturday, I left LA to drive or ride with two friends to Sedona to go back to the vortex that I had just visited a week prior, to be on some ritual, right? So today is just Monday. So I guess it's about 48 hours, a little over 48 hours. In 48 hours, I have been called sir. I have been called dude. I have been told twice about my masculinity, right? Or how masculine I am. And I've been called man. In 48 hours by different people. And I didn't know if this was like some lesson Spirit was trying to hand me, because this is something that I've been plagued with since I was a little girl. Just over and over and over again in some way, being, from being, quote, a tomboy to being, any number, any version of those things, right? And always being super self-conscious about it, even compensating in a lot of ways, I think, trying to escape that categorization. But this weekend was different in terms of my response. This weekend, it was, I was outraged for a little while. And then I just had to sit with it, because this is not something that's peculiar to me. I've heard too many black women who have had this same experience living in this society. And I think one of the most glaring examples of this phenomenon is Serena Williams. That since this woman was a little girl, since she was a young teenager, she has been assaulted because of what people characterized as masculine traits or a masculine personification or whatever, right? Whether it's her body, whether it's her presence, whether it's her audacity, this woman has been the open target of everyone in society. Men, women, black women, white men, everybody has seen fit to state their unsolicited opinion about this woman's very being, her very essence, and how that presents at any given time. And despite the fact that she's married, despite the fact that she has crafted a whole human in her fucking body, people still see fit to categorize her in this myopic way as some kind of, quote, manly woman. And so when this happened this weekend, the first time it happened was this white woman who asked for directions on how to get to her room. And I said, oh, it's this way. And she said, thank you, sir. And I was like, sir, really? I had on a dress. My hair was in an updo. Really, sir? Oh, I'm sorry, dude. Dude? And then her boyfriend comes to her defense and says, oh, she's just really drunk. But like, I obviously am not a woman, right? And then it came from men, black men. There was no ill intention, I'm sure, in how they stepped to me about my, quote, masculinity. But it's still a level of audacity that allows people to give you their unsolicited opinion about how you present in the world and how they categorize femininity and masculinity. I find it really interesting that the things that quantify black women in particular as masculine in this society, it's not given a second thought when white women are perceived when white women are engaging in those same activities. For example, Laura Croft, Tomb Raider, guns on her thighs, combat boots, you understand? Slaying people, chopping off heads, doing all this stuff. And her femininity is never called into question. That same actress plays Mrs. Smith in Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And the dichotomy of her wholeness is that she is a spy and she's a housewife, right? And so she can go out and shoot people in the face and cut off people's heads and wield machetes or whatever the hell she does as a spy, and then come home and prepare meals and live a quote, mundane life. And her femininity is never called into question. It's never even a second thought. As a matter of fact, the things that are typically categorized in this society as masculine, when she is engaged in it, makes her even more appealing, makes her even more attractive, you see. So white women are out here in the world living whole humanness, being allowed to attain whole humanness as the fruits of feminist labor and feminist ideology and feminist movement. Meanwhile, in 2020, a black woman that just has the audacity to speak forcefully to defend a position, or go hiking, or climb a rock, or whatever, or camping, or whatever. Anything that I do as a black woman that makes someone other than that uncomfortable is reduced to me being unfeminine or me being masculine. And that's what happened 4 times this weekend in a 48-hour period. My femininity or my whole humanness was called into question for whatever reason. And like I said, when I was young, when I was very young, when I was an adolescent, when I was a girl child, when I was in my 20s, shit used to really bother me, and I used to go out of my way to overcompensate, right? For other people's perception of, quote, my presentation, whether it was, quote, in its hardness or in its softness. And black women can't win for losing anyway. We can't. Because even if we're purely, quote, effeminate by European standards that are imposed down on all of us, there's still some complaint that's levied against the bodies and the existence and the personification of that woman. So it's not like she catches a break in her softness or her femininity. But dare don't be someone like myself who challenges men, who calls on men to, it's your responsibility to develop your whole humanness, to be back in touch with the divine feminine that resides in all of us, that you have lost touch with, that has you thinking some weird, mutant ass version of masculinity has to have you so hyper hard that you can't connect with women, that you can't relate with women. And so here I am, in this situation trying to figure out why Spirit had me go to Sedona to do ceremony, to be called out of my whole humanness. And how is it that people still in this day and age feel like it is their right, that somehow they are entitled to offer me their unsolicited opinion about how I present in the world on any given day? I've never in my whole existence, and I mean this, I have never seen any of my white female friends dressed down in sneakers, sweatpants, hair all up in a messy bun, muscle shirt, at the gym, sweating it out, and somebody tell her, bitch, you look like a man, or you acting like a man, or why you so aggressive like a man. I ain't seen it. But I can tell you, I can run down the list of black women that have had that experience. And so, you know, this is me again and again and again, calling on everybody, black, white, brown, red, and yellow, to challenge your own misogyny before you open your mouth, to question within yourself why you would say certain things to human beings about how they present in the world, and feel like, one, you have a right to say something, and two, why that something makes you uncomfortable, why that thing makes you so disturbed in the moment that you feel like you have a right to invade somebody else's space, to invade somebody else's headspace or heart space with your bullshit that you dealing with in your own heart. You see? I mean, imagine the audacity, bitch. I crafted a whole goddamn human in my fucking body. You understand? Not only that, that human is giving birth to 2 more, which will give birth to more. You understand? How dare you attempt to reduce my womanness off some shit that's been imposed on you, and feel like you have the right to say out your mouth how you feel about it? I allowed a spirit to come through me and crack my fucking body in half to fulfill their own personal destiny, to have some motherfucker tell me, oh, you masculine. Oh, excuse me, dude. Excuse me, sir. How fucking dare you? How degrading. How dare you? How dare you? And so when you open your mouth to talk about somebody else's presentation of the world, how they present in the world, how they choose to live in this world, how they choose to walk in this world, and somehow their walk in this life makes you uncomfortable, that ain't got nothing to do with them. That's got to do with you and this bullshit that you have accepted in your mind that you need to challenge. So don't open your mouth. You sit with it and you ask yourself honestly, and you ask your spirit honestly, why is this shaking me so much that I actually attempted or was about to say something to this woman about how she presents in the world? Because we are all infected with the madness of white supremacy. We are all infected with the madness of patriarchy. The difference between some of us and others of us is we recognize it and we do the self-work to unroot that shit, to cure that shit, to unburden our hearts of that shit. Keep your damn mouth closed and do your own self-work. Because whatever you have, whatever opinion you have of somebody else in your mind is about you. It's about your shadows. It is about the place that you have not evolved to yet. You understand? So that's all I want to say about that. This is Yapo Moyende Yagina, otherwise known as Rogue Black Girl. I'll see you guys later.